why are SABC employees striking? Why is SABC's 4.5% salary offer denying its staff an increment for 6 months? Why was Acting Group Chief Executive Officer Nomsa Piliso paid an 877,000 Rand bonus? And will the SABC be able to provide coverage of the ANC's elective conference? What time is it? It's question time. Khotsong, Gurula, Mraro, and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. The SABC has for the past half a decade or so been embroiled in management scandals that saw the institution being run by someone without a matric. This may be the last broadcast of Question Time for a while. Why? Because from tomorrow, labor unions at the SABC have declared a strike. This after Bemawu and the Communications Workers Union rejected an offer of 4.5% for only half the current financial year. The unions are apparently not expecting workers to pay for what they call blunders made by former COO Hlaudi Mtswening. Part of Board Chairperson Bongumusa Makhathini's statement today says, and I quote, "As you know, 2 applications for government guarantee have yielded nothing. Any increased salary offer will plunge the SABC into even deeper financial crisis than we already are in," close quote. Now, while respecting the rights of workers to strike, he has also called on non-striking workers to keep the ship afloat. We are live, and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial is 089-110-4210. Outside the borders, plus 2789-110-4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. I've got a full panel today. My guest, Kaiser Khanyago, he speaks on behalf of the SABC. Obri Shabalala is the General Secretary of the Communications Workers Union, and Hannes de Boysen, he's the Bemawu spokesperson. Gentlemen, let me welcome you to the show. Kaiser, is this my last broadcast for a considerable amount of time?
Hopefully not, and I don't think it will be, but at the end of the day, we are in a situation that where we find ourselves, but from the SABC point of view, we are doing everything in our power to make sure that the broadcasts, not only of this show, but all the other shows goes on tomorrow and going forward.
Now, Hannes, you have rejected 4.5% offer from the SABC. And as I said in the opening there, you're saying employees must not be made to pay for the blunders that were committed by the previous managers or leaders of the SABC. Talk to us about that.
Yes, and I must maybe start off to say that it is disheartening to hear Mr. Khanyago here saying that they're making plans to keep the SABC on air, and he's not saying we're making plans to pay the workers. Yes, the 4.5% is not a 4.5%, it's actually a 2.25% because it's only backdated for 6 months. So if you calculate it over that period, then of course it's only 2.25%. The important question that should be asked is not about the bonus and all of those other issues, but the question is the payment that was made by the interim board, which was 3.9 million Rand. That is about 8,000 Rand a meeting. They said they had 99 meetings, 130,000 Rand a month for 6. That is of concern, and the board has said publicly that they will not take any money unless the SABC is in a better financial position. By them taking the money, of course, that means that they are in a better financial position.
So, well, let me just remind our viewers that actually we're now live streaming. This is 2017, the end of it. So technology at its best. We're live streaming the show. You can catch it on YouTube. All you do is to go to our website there, the SABC online website there, and you will be able to follow it. That is in case you have to be moving around. Now, the Communications Workers Union, you were part of this. As I was coming in here, one of my fellow colleagues said to me, "Mpho, you need to ask, what happens to us as freelancers?"
Well, that's a good question. I think firstly, I agree that tenants have just made correct calculations in terms of the increase.
Yeah.
Me and you will agree that it's an insult to workers, that particular increase. But looking at the question raised by SABC that there will be contingency plan, we know, for example, you have the Centex where we are the only union. So we'll definitely apply for secondary strikes, so is Urban Brew. So if SABC doesn't focus on resolving the dispute at hand, we are going to be indefinitely will be no show, as we have correctly put it out. But let's answer the question of freelancers, is that this divide and rule of the working class or workers in the division must come to an end. We believe that workers must be rewarded accordingly. We believe that workers must always be treated equally. So if once we have a certain particular group of workers getting an increase and other, that is the division of workers. But to add further is that we're engaging with all the stakeholders at SABC to see this strike a success so that the employer could start responding to our demands.
But they're saying they don't have money.
Absolutely. One of the reasons that they put is that there are no bank guarantees. It's based on their strategy. I'm sure if you put a lousy strategy to the treasury, you're not going to get any bank guarantees. That's the first point. But we must also question how are the production companies paid. And to our information is that they are paid through treasury, which could signal another inconsistency at SABC. Who is being prioritized, who's not being prioritized. And we believe that a strike is the last resolution.
Okay. Do you have money to pay us?
No, definitely no. And this is very clear. We've opened up our books to indicate. And this issue of us being in a financial crisis did not come now when there is negotiation for salary increase. We have been saying it for quite a while, even prior to the interim board coming here. We've been indicating our financial crisis. And this is a definite that we are having a financial crisis. But there are other issues also that needs to be dealt with. I hear my colleague here saying that we're paying people through treasury. That is not the case. It's just a rumor. And the reality is we are getting all the money that we are getting through advertising. And with the little bit that we are getting, we prioritize salaries of staff. And then from there, we pay production companies so that we are able to then get the content on air and get the revenue that we can do. And all that we are trying to do is to bring back stability. But everybody knows, like you have said in your intro, we've applied for a government guarantee from the bank. It's not about the strategy. For us to go to the bank, we need a government guarantee from government, and government has not responded to that. 2 times we've gone in the past about 6 months, and nothing has come afloat.
But isn't one of the reasons why the SABC doesn't have money or has lost money? I'm told that you lost 200 million due to the 90%, which you defended, by the way.
No, definitely. When the SABC makes a decision, it's not about me defending anything. When the SABC makes a decision, a directive was made at the time, and that was the directive that was had to be put out there, and we have got to then support that directive. But now, later on hindsight, it was found that there were, in some of the commercial radio stations in the main, there was a loss of that 200 million and so on. And then that is fact. It's not things that we created. They are there and they are factual.
Okay. Felix, you are in Mpumalanga. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I think the principle of fairness and justice must prevail. A laborer deserves his wages. Now, a father cannot go out, blow all his money on booze and prostitutes, come back home and start having meeting with his children, but please, you know what? You are not going to eat tonight. You are only going to drink water because there is no money. Now, the government went out, blew all the money of the country, now telling workers that no, you should not increase your salary. We don't have money. After they blew all the money on stupid things, I beg that workers should please stand together. They should stand together in solidarity and make sure that they go on strike permanently until the government we have can reason, can listen. Instead of wasting our money, they must just pay the workers properly. Thank you.
Okay, Felix. Well, Felix is taking it a notch higher. It's not at government level as yet. It's still at the SABC level. But I wanted us to just round up on the losses made as a result of some of the decisions that were made in the past. Any regrets?
I always say this, that because I hear this a lot, where people are saying, yeah, it is not because of us that we are here. At this present moment, that doesn't matter much. We are here. And at the time we're speaking about, we can blame whoever we want to blame in the past. But the reality is we moved in a car, we arrived at a point, and now we don't maybe understand why we're here. You can't now say, who brought me here? You are there. You must find a way
it's
of
like
moving
somebody's
from there
drowning,
going somewhere else.
You can't be asking...
Or how did you get in here? And then you start arguing about...
But then why doesn't it affect all the employees of the SABC? I mean, if the CEO is getting an 877,000 bonus, and well, not me per se, but my colleagues are not getting anything.
That is not true, that the CEO has got an 877 rand bonus.
Oh, okay.
What has happened, and we have explained this countless times, Ms. Pilisu was the group executive, or before that he was even a general manager in sales, in our sales division. And there is a commission scheme, which is not only for managers, for everybody there. Therefore, this amount must have been talked about this year, but it was for the financial year 14-15, and it is a commission that is paid to each and every employee. She's not the one who created that scheme. It was created and they were getting it at that time. Because, therefore, what happens in that period is you take some of the money and you bank. And when the bankable amount then appears in the next financial year, people think that it was paid for now, and that was not the case.
Do you understand that?
Look, we understand that it was in the previous financial year, but that is a scheme that we have been complaining. We are asking, why are we here? Exactly that. Management paying management those sums of money who's not been directly involved with clients that should not earn that commission. And all of those amounts, if you add them up, that makes up the millions or the billions that we're currently in a deficit.
So, what do you expect to happen tomorrow? Just give our viewers a perspective, because your wish is this screen must be blank tomorrow, it must be dark.
Before we go there, just last point, you've referred to the process that made wasteful expenditures, like your 90%, that they were talking about, that they realized later that it was not implemented correct. But they still give people bonuses on the basis of that. So let's leave that.
But that
like what I was indicating, yes, you're talking of commissions and all that, but
no, it's fine. I need him to clarify
No,
this.
that cannot be correct, because you see, when you relate something that you know very well, that this commission has always been there, and it has been there for years. It's not something that was started now. Therefore, to relate it to a 90% and to say they did the 90% and they still paid people bonuses as if it was done last year. This, I've just explained that it was for the financial year 14-15.
Absolutely, I agree. I'm saying wrong decisions, people were rewarded. I was just making an example amongst that.
Okay.
And it's something that Labour has been complaining about for years. So I was just making emphasis that this priority, that is priority of salaries and so forth, is neither here nor there. But we wanted to indicate that a strike is the last resolution. It's a very painful decision to take.
Yeah.
It took 9 months for SABC to wake up and say, oh, 4.5%. 9 months. They've been consistent, hell-bent on 0%. They even call it 0% increase. Where have you seen zero become an increase? But having said that, even when we're applying for a strike in the past month, when they threatened us with the interdict, they never had any intention to move from that zero. Now that everything has been followed, they come with this 2.5%. They're talking about color coding and say 4.5%. It shows that the employer here has not been ready to engage labor, and therefore, as a result, workers will pull out their labor, and therefore it will mean that there will be blank screen and silence on the radio. I can guarantee that.
Okay, Michael, you are in Mpumalanga. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? How are you, Tedu?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Listen, I'm very deeply concerned about how the SABC has been doing things. This has been a pattern of them doing these things like this. They've involved the politics. The ANCs and stuff have had their influences, and now you see these things happen. By granting a guy, uneducated guy, to come and run the SABC. Look now, they're talking about these millions they cannot give the people who are working there. I mean, it's very sad. And I'd like to say to the gentlemen who are sitting there, the unions, I'll tell you what is the contingency plans they are planning to do. Is they are planning to
put Lulu Kabu and Tabilungwatu as always, because the SABC, they don't hire people. They use how many youths have been taken in the programs. How many youths have been taken in? Always the same presenters. There's no movement within the SABC. Instead, the unions need to tackle this.
So, Dr. Michael, are you saying we must be fired now?
No, I'm not saying it must be fired. I'm saying that the youth, because the youth, they need to come in. We see, I watch the SABC all the time, Mr. Tedu. I know the presenters so much. I like watching news. And I can tell you, I always see Lulu Kabu during the evening. Where are the younger guys being trained to come into the SABC? Where are they?
It's only 27.
Yeah, no, seriously, they must try, by all means, to also do this, to bring in new young blood. There must be movement.
Okay.
It will help.
Okay, Dr. Michael, thank you very much there from Nels Parade there. Yeah, but yeah, well, I know Tabile is young. Lulu, you are still young, my colleague. Kaiser, is the SABC going to broadcast the 54th National Conference of the ANC?
We have indicated in the statement that we issued that we have put everything that we can. And we are basically saying that we want to make sure that we give the people of South Africa their constitutional obligation that we have for them, which is the right to information. As far as we are concerned, we can only do what is best from our side to try and give that information, not only the conference, but also television and radio, so that they can all run, and we then provide that right to information to the people of South Africa.
Let's go to our lines. And Tesono, you are in Rustenburg.
Also, the Tempo.
I attend the Tesono.
The government at work. Hey, I'm the Tempo. I must also greet your case there.
Yes.
The Tempo.
That
really is so shocking and it's so disappointing. What a disgusting. I'm busy looking at Kaiser. Kaiser has been there at the SABC for quite a long time. He knows very well where's the money. Because he was protecting the guy who was Cowdy. Cowdy was there. He's the one who has caused a lot of mess up within the SABC. Because now they know that SABC has been captured for quite a long time. Now they fail to give the poor workers who are doing an outstanding job, they fail to give them that sweet and peanut. Because then they are taking a lot of bonus and a lot of money within their pockets. So I'm appealing straight to Kaiser. Kaiser, go and get the money from where the money is. You know, Kaiser. Take out the money. 680 something irregular expenditure. I mean, what a shame. Please, those workers, they are working each and every night. They are not working for their respective families. SABC, get the money, give them respective money. That increment of 4.5 for more than 9 months. What a shame. But at the end, they say, no, you are there, you are protesting for the publicity. No, I mean, come on, guys. I agree with that guy who says, some people who are working at SABC, they are too old enough. SABC must make something, must bring a new blood within the structure.
Okay.
New blood so that things can move very quickly and easily.
All right.
You know, even Kaiser, he must go and rest a bit at home. And we must get somebody who's new, who's a bit young. He must pump the money within the SABC. You must get a lot of money. You're doing a very good job, man.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Info.
I have a thought on that.
Okay.
Right. Well, Kaiser, can you please bring the money? Where is this money?
It's very interesting. If I knew where this money is, I would go and get it. But on a serious note, we are not trying to hide anything from anyone. And the SABC is in a situation where we do not have money. We understand the plight of the workers. It's not like we don't. And as you might have seen in the statement that the board chairperson issued, it is clear that we understand the plight. But the reality is we do not have the money. And if we do anything beyond where we are at the present moment, we would end up with a situation that might not be desirable after that.
What the labor movement is threatening was last seen here during Mwasa's strike. And if it happens, it means there's no news, there's no program. It will just be music on radios and perhaps just repeats of whatever on television. That is not good for our viewers.
No, definitely. It will not be good if that happens. Like I said, all that we could do from our side is to put contingency measures to try and make sure that we deliver what we're supposed to deliver. But the reality of the matter is it will not help if we do not work together to try and find a solution. And that's why I keep emphasizing that we understand the plight of the workers. It's not like we don't.
Okay, so
but the reality says something different, which is the fact that we do not have the money.
What are the contingency measures?
Unfortunately, we cannot give you all of that contingency measures here, but all I can assure you is we've put some contingency measures in place and we'll make sure that they are implemented.
Your strategy won't work?
Well, let's wait and see tomorrow. We had meetings today with very important stakeholders. The SABC Middle Management Forum, which exists of about 500 middle managers, has indicated that they are willing to participate in the strike. We had talks with freelancers today who has indicated that they may also join in the strike. So I'm not sure if they're going to get people from China to come and help and broadcast, but in South Africa, we don't think that they're going to have, and maybe for one day or for 1 hour or 2 hours, they may be able to have plans, but it's not going to continue. And of course, workers are adamant that they're not going to call off the strike until at least there is a reasonable increase that has been put to employees. You asked a question earlier about the freelancers and colleagues asking about that. Freelancers has been abused extensively over a number of years. 15, 20 years those people have been working, having no medical aid, having no pension fund. Women that wants to have children must have that on their own cost. If they take off work for longer than 2-3 weeks, then they're losing money. So they have to leave their babies somewhere and come to work because they don't have those benefits. Yeah. Whilst they've been working like permanent employees for 20 years and longer. And of course, that is something that we have raised with the SABC a long time ago. And this is something that we said that we will take up again. And that is the undertaking from us as Labour at the SABC, is that those freelancers will be taken care of. We are going to take care of them, and of course we hope that they will support.
Give me percentages. How popular is the strike?
Well, as Anis has explained, we believe that we can shut down SABC, even though it was not a sole intention. The sole intention was to reach an agreement. But having said that, is that tomorrow we are going to hand over our memorandum to SABC, and we are going to pull all to those numbers to participate. We believe that we should have a public sympathy, because the action is not necessarily about the broadcasting of SABC, but it's about the product that goes to our viewers at home. Because how do you expect a stomach empty worker to produce good results? Because that's what SABC
I have news for you.
Yes.
The empty stomachs here have been producing everything that you're seeing.
You're quite right. That's why now that our patient has been stretched to the limit. We have come to this point dragging ourselves because of SABC not wanting to engage us. Now they expect us to say to workers they must go and work as it is normal, whilst they're unable to afford their livelihoods at home.
Well, this channel is run almost completely on freelancers. I'm not so sure if they are going to participate in the strike. Well, Hannes seems to agree that they are. Then this is serious, Kaiser.
No, like I was saying, we have got contingency plans. We cannot be saying here now what those contingency plans are. But the reality of the matter is, you see, sometimes when you are in a state like this, there are a lot of things that are thrown in between. And in some cases, for example, it's not correct what Hannes is saying to say people have been exploited, because freelancers were not. Some of the people want to be freelancers, you understand? And they've got reasons why they want to be freelancers, because they want to do other jobs elsewhere. And there are many variables, but this is not a forum for that. Yeah. For me, what is important here is to indicate that we are very committed to making sure that this impasse is finally at some point dealt with. And we will continue to engage with the unions around these issues. But the fact of the matter is we can only put on the table what we can afford. Because if we put anything that we cannot afford on the table and after that we are unable to then deliver on it, it will be creating another problem going forward. But at the end of the day, we have got to sit down, look at the position of the SABC at the present moment, agree to work together towards a sustainable SABC. And once that is done, then it's easy for us to deal with the issues.
Well, thank you very much. We have run out of time, but yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm part of the contingency plan tomorrow, but in case we are not on air, we will see you when we come back on air. But hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow. That was Question Time for today. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show from me and the entire crew. Have yourself a wonderful time. Bye, Bakhot.